Welcome, racing fans. This is Alex Gray from the Grueling Truth Radio Network, and in here with me today is NASCAR driver and owner, B.J.McLeod. B.J., thanks for coming on today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
So, to start off, can you give us a story about how you got into racing and even what got you into running a race team?
Well, I got into racing before I can remember. Mom and Dad started me out with a gas-powered four-wheeler when I was 2.5 years old, running flat dirt tracks, and just kind of escalated from there. They, took care of me and helped me get to the tracks all the way, pretty much my whole life, all the way up till NASCAR, and it, they helped me a lot get going, and it started out with the four-wheelers and then went to go-karts, and then Dad put me in a super late model when I was 12 for the first time ever. And that's when I knew I was going to be running stock cars for a while. Definitely enjoyed those. So we, ran stock cars, ran super late models always for, 10 or 15 years. And then I had started driver coaching, teaching for Finish Line Racing School when I was 19, and ended up, kind of liking doing that because I love driving and loved racing, but didn't have enough money to run as much as I want, or sometimes run as well as I wanted to. And, that kind of taught me the driver coach aspect of it. And I'd always built my own cars and done my own stuff. So we decided to start actually doing it, taking drivers and teaching them and doing driver development in 2010. So we started with super late models, had Matt Tift and Scott Heckert, and worked with them for, actually Matt raced with me, I think all the way up to 2014 or 15, and then Scott raced with me all the way up to 2014. So we, we had a good run with those guys and a lot of fun, and obviously started the NASCAR stuff in 2010 too, and just been trying to build it ever since. Did trucks, and now we're doing Xfinity, and just having a good time trying to build the team and make it better.
That's great to hear. And obviously, of course, you've been racing with Matt again in the Xfinity Series this past season as well.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say I race with him. I try to keep up. He usually laps me about 2 or 3 times a race, so I wave at him when he comes by. But it's always fun to watch him because, like I said, he's racing for wins. I'm racing for 25th, somewhere in that area, and it's fun to have him there and know that I've worked with him since the beginning, and it's fun to see him succeed and how well he's doing.
Well, certainly. Although I was really thrilled to see when Jeff Green drove at Talladega for you guys, and I believe he led about 18 laps and finished 10th in that race. And that was just really cool because, obviously that must have been a really feel-good moment for you guys.
Well, it was really cool for the team to see that, and you sometimes you want to discredit leading at a Talladega or Daytona because it's such an even field there, but it's still really cool because we built that car in the shop. It was a Roush car to start with, and we assembled it in the shop and put it together, and PME built the motors for it, and to go there and be leading the NASCAR Xfinity race. And honestly, wasn't off a fuel strategy or anything. It was they were in 2 different slots on stops then, and he ended up running 6th all the way to the last restart after all the fuel stops cycled through. He led his group on the pit road and then led them off of pit road and kept the lead of his group, which there was 2 Gibbs cars in it, an RCR car. Like, there were some really good cars pushing Jeff, and they kind of got strung out on 2 different ends of the track through the pit stops. And he pit stops was on point. We never lost the lead of our group through the stops. And they had a debris caution with, I think it was like 10 or 5 or something to go. And on the restart, he got shuffled back to 10th. But we were maintaining, solid top 10 for the last half of the race. And it was definitely a lot of fun to watch. So Jeff did an awesome job. He had a green flag stop, which I know for him it's kind of boring, but me, I guess I do have a lot of races to my name now, but I don't get to practice green flag stops a lot with the budget we're on, and it's definitely a lot of pressure at the speedways to get through the green flag stops without making mistakes or sliding your tires because, we don't usually change tires under green. So you have a lot on you, and he come down pit road, never slid his tires, didn't get past, did everything perfect, and really drove his butt off that race and got us a good finish.
Awesome. And there was also the first Iowa race where Tommy Joe Martin finished 11th. David Starr was 14th, and you finished 17th in that race?
Yeah, we ran pretty good that day. We were 24th to 20th with my car pretty much all day, and David Starr was right there with me. And which the David Starr effort was supported by SS Greenlight. Their guys did all that. And, we, the Tommy Joe's car was what we were really proud of because we didn't even have stickers for the whole race. And he ended up racing 15th to 16th, somewhere in that area. And because of the fuel strategy, crew chiefs did a great job and got him an 11th place finish out of it. But the last restart, he actually jumped his way up to about 8th and maintained top 10 till like 6 or 7 to go on tires that were not stickers. So against people that were on stickers. So it was a really good effort. We're looking forward to going back there this year because we're hoping to have some more sponsorship and be able to afford full allotment of tires and do it the right way and try to run the top 10. That'd be this one of our goals this year.
Excellent. And recently, you also announced your lineup for Daytona. What's it looking like at B.J.McLeod Motorsports?
We've got Cesar Baccarella driving the 8 car for us. He ran Phoenix and Homestead last year and did a great job at Homestead, really qualified very well and ran good in the race, picked up a lot. It was his first mile-and-a-half race in an Xfinity car. And he's been to the Daytona and Talladega a couple of times with ARCA, so we're kind of looking forward to seeing what goes on there with him and how much fun he can have because he's got some experience and it's not new for him. So looking forward to that. And then we got Ryan Ellis in the 78. Everybody that follows us knows Ryan's done pretty well in what he's had over the last 4 or 5 years. And we're really looking forward to seeing, what goes on with him and how well he can do in the race and fortunate to have him come to the team. And then we've got Ray Black Jr., which he's been full-time in Xfinity. Well, I guess he was full-time last year, but he ran a lot of races, and then he was full-time in 16. So he's got a lot of seat time now, and we're excited to have him on board as well at Daytona.
Awesome. And you did release a couple of pictures of what the cars are going to look like. They look really nice. And check it out on their Facebook and Twitter.
Yep.
And what else here? Who else is expected to drive for you guys later on in the season?
We know Tommy Joe's going to run some races. Other than that, we don't have anything that's set for sure. I'm going to drive a good amount also. So we'll see. We should have some more plans here in the next 2 or 3 weeks as we get to Daytona, and through that we'll be able to decide a lot more. We have a lot of people talking to us right now. We're just trying to figure out what direction we're going to go.
All right. And not to mention, last season you also got to run 8 Cup races for Rick Ware Racing. How did you get that Cup opportunity, and what was it like?
It was a lot of fun. Rick was nice enough, Lisa and Cody, to give me a shot to drive that thing. Cody had a back issue after the first Dover, and that was basically I got my first shot. I believe it was at Kentucky, and Rick and I have worked together a lot, behind the scenes because he had his Xfinity deal, last 2 years when I was racing it, and I've done stuff for him before in Xfinity cars, and I talk to him at least once a week, if not more, and I've been around him. Cody drove my car once or twice in 2016, and they're just good people. And I guess biggest thing is Rick wanted to help me out, and he knows how bad I love driving and how much I love doing it. And he he needed somebody for Kentucky, and like you said, there was 7 or 8 more races after that, and they definitely did a lot to get me in the car and let me have a shot. And it's the Cup deal's a crazy deal because you drive so hard for 3 or 4 or 5 hours, and like where I'm at, I may get to pass 2 cars. Our best finish I think was 30th, which I'm actually really happy about with the Cup Series because it is so stacked all the way from first to last. So I was excited to finish 30th, but we had some really good qualifying efforts, I believe at Indy and Bristol and it was Charlotte. So it was fun to do that, and just learning the racing and trying to get good with the Cup car, because it's like I said, it's really long racing, and it's a lot of management and how hard do you drive and how hard do you not drive, and just trying to figure out a good balance. So it was fun to just be the driver and not own it, and go over and try to do the best I could for them from the driver's seat, rather than trying to cover all aspects of the team.
And could we expect you to see back in a Cup car this year at all?
I hope so. We're there's nothing for sure yet, but Rick's talked to me a little bit about running some for him, so I'm hoping that I'll be in some of the Cup races this year, because I really enjoy driving the Cup cars.
Excellent. Speaking of which, last season was the first season where they implemented stage racing, and of course the second season of the playoff and the Xfinity Series. What is your opinion on how both of those have played in the racing?
I think they're positive all the way around. I think they help the smaller teams a little bit. I think they have made it more exciting for the big teams, and definitely more exciting for the race fans all around. Like, you can't possibly say that a NASCAR race is not more exciting with stage racing. Like, it's impossible. So I think it was by far one of the best decisions I've seen, and actually, ever since I've been watching the sport. Like, it's definitely more action packed now. And it's the whole season. You don't have to wait till 10 races to go to get excited. Like, it's the first race at Daytona, we're going to have a caution, at the third 30% mark of the race roughly, and everybody's going to get bunched back up, and the race is going to restart, and it's just going to be wild. But you don't have to worry about going to Atlanta or Charlotte or wherever, and the race getting strung out. Like, that you're racing to that segment for those points, and you have to drive hard and get those points, and then turn around and reset it and do it all over again. So I was excited. And when I first announced it, I didn't pay much attention to it, just because I like to see how everything works out. But right. I've never had a fan tell me they didn't like it, and I like it as an owner. I like it as a driver. It's just better for the sport.
Yeah, I think stage racing has brought a lot of excitement into the sport more, and especially that the race doesn't get strung out as much, because they have to line them back up again, and as you said, things get wild. And, NFL's the number one watch sport in our country, and if you look at it, you basically have a caution every 7 to 12 seconds, and your longest commercial break is 2 minutes, and then your longest break in between is 40 seconds in between a play, plus a 30-second timeout. So the most you're going to go without action or a caution of some sort is about 2.5 minutes. So it keeps the attention in it, keeps you excited. You're always waiting for the next play, and I think that putting stages into NASCAR racing kind of, obviously we're 30 minutes, 40 minutes in between cautions if everything goes right, but it's still it just changes the way you watch the sport, and I think it's going to be big for us. It's going to help with making the sport grow. Certainly. Since you mentioned the NFL, we'll go a little off topic for a second. You rooting for anybody in the Super Bowl?
I'm a Tom Brady, Bill Belichick fan, so I'm not necessarily a fan of any team, but I just have a ton of respect for more Tom Brady than Bill Belichick, but I definitely like what Belichick's done as a coach. And for Brady to be playing like he's playing at 40 years old, it's just insane. And it's something it may be 100 years before you see what him and Belichick have done happen again. Like, it's just, you just keep waiting every year. They write something new. And I actually put them as having a hard, they're 53% favorite, like on odds, but I see them as being an underdog, because they, Eagles to me are just a better all around team right now. And I think if Nick Foles plays the way he did last weekend, then, a week and a half ago, that Patriots going to have a really hard time winning. But it's exciting for me to root for Brady and try to see him win another Super Bowl. So that's what I want. I just have a ton of respect for. He's like the Jimmy Johnson of our sport. where
Yeah.
they both have money to last 15 or 20 lifetimes for their kids, grandkids, great-grandkids. Like, they're never, and both of them's wives are very successful. They have hundreds of millions of dollars also, and they have no reason to go out there and kill themselves every weekend. You know, Brady does it 18 times a year. Jimmy does it 36 times a year, and not counting tests or anything else. And they're both at the top of their sport with plenty of everything being secure to go live and enjoy their families, and they love it so much that they keep coming back and risking their lives and working hard every day to take care of what got them what they have. And I just have a ton of respect for that kind of athlete, and that's why I pull for those guys.
Yeah, people can say what they want to say, but, you know, like you said, I just have a ton of respect for, you know, guys like Brady and Jimmy. Do you think Jimmy Johnson could win his 8th title?
Oh, absolutely. There's not a doubt in my mind. I talked to him on pit road at Michigan, and it was right after driver intro, and I just told him, I was like, dude, don't quit. Like, he's like, no, I'm not getting away yet. I was like, well, stay in there, man, because you just, like, I think in practice at Michigan, he knocked the fence down, you know, like wrecked running 200 mile an hour on a practice day. And I told him, I was like, that's why I love you, because you have, you know, he's got everything taken care of, and he wrecked in practice trying to get more. Like, that's not getting out there and just making a paycheck. That means that he's 100% trying to win that race that weekend. And it wasn't in the chase or nothing. I mean, it was just a regular weekend for him, and he's out there and just, you know, destroys his car, sends himself to the infield care center, and, you know, all trying to go faster. So I just have a ton of respect for that. I don't like tearing up cars and stuff like that happening. I'm not saying that. I'm saying the fact that he drives so hard in practice in a non-chase race proves that he drives that hard every single weekend, and that he still remembers before he made it. He still remembers what it took for him to get where he's at, and that's why he's won 7 championships, along with, you know, 50 other reasons that have lined up correctly. But he would not have won those championships or the races he's won without having the mentality that he has right now, and the way he pushes to be successful in the sport, and how hard he drives every time he turns the ignition switch on. So I told him, I was like, just don't quit for me. And he's like, I'm not. So it was good to hear that, and know that we at least have a year or two or something. He didn't say how long, but it, you know, at least we know he's running this year at least. So I look for him to win that 8th championship without a doubt.
Yeah, I'm sure if he does, it'll be really historical. It's been fun watching him growing up as well. I got to see him win when I went to the 2009 Brickyard 400, I believe. Yeah, I remember seeing him race out Mark Martin in that race. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, he's just hardcore, and I respect that. I just, you know, I set myself to try and be better every race, whether I had the talent to win or to run 15th or 20th or whatever it is. It's, you know, just drive as hard as you can and make sure you appreciate it every day. So that's how I work, and I really respect people that have been successful and still are that way.
And what have been some favorite drivers you've had growing up watching NASCAR?
I mean, his first was definitely Richard Petty. I mean, that would be an answer I would answer the same for, you know, 20 years. He was just somebody I loved. Right, I was probably 4 or 5 years old, and he was my first one that I liked. My mom really liked Davey Allison. I really liked him too, and I become a fan of Tim Richmond after he was gone. I wasn't a fan of Dale Earnhardt Sr. until later in his career, you know, like mid-'90s to early 2000s, which I was born in '83, so I mean, it wasn't much of a difference. But it, you know, I was definitely first Richard Petty, and then, you know, definitely got on Davey Allison bandwagon, and then Jeff Gordon, and it was, you know, then after you see what Tim had accomplished, that was cool to see. And I just really, you know, those people were fun to watch, and it was always exciting. So that was my guys earlier, and it just changes through the years. You can't stick, because it just, the sport evolves so quick that you have to pick new people all the time. But they're definitely the ones that I'll always remember as ones that I've enjoyed watching, like if I was going to be a fan.
Yeah, definitely. There's just, sport changes so much now. It's really interesting to watch, especially with the the veterans now retiring. You saw Gordon retire, Stewart, Earnhardt Jr., Kenseth. So, that next generation's coming, and it'll be interesting to see how that really all plays out. So, you got a favorite track you like racing at?
I wouldn't say there's one that I would answer every time as my favorite. They all have different reasons you like them. Daytona, Talladega are fun just because it's more strategy than it is worrying about hitting marks or making sure you lift in the right spot. I mean, it just takes it's a different kind of racing. Indianapolis, probably my all-out just favorite track because it's flat. With the Cup car, you have to lift there, and you have to drag brake. So you're running over 200 mile an hour, still lifting, still braking, and you have really no sense of grip because there's so little bank there, and it's really narrow. So when you come off one corner, it looks like you're driving into the next corner that's 4 feet wide because it's so far away. So I'd say all-out just favorite track. If I had to pick one, it'd be Indy.
Yeah, I love Indy. I love going there. It's just a historic venue.
Yeah, the Cup car is a blast to drive there.
Oh, definitely. I've had the privilege to go to 2 Brickyard 400s, and obviously last year's was just crazy.
Yeah, I was racing with Timmy Hill that day, and we had him a lap down, and a master switch broke inside the car, and it took him 18 laps to get it switched out. And Timmy ended up finishing 14th. And I was like, we would have had a top 15 if I could have just got to the end of the race. But that's the way it goes, man. There was 40 other cars out there that could have finished top 15 if they didn't wreck or something. So it's just the way it is. But you always look at that like a missed opportunity.
Yeah. And I noticed your race team retweeted what NASCAR and NBC posted. I love NASCAR because blank. So what would you say to fill in that blank?
I would guess the reason I do it is the speed, the adrenaline. Like it's a legal way to run 200 mile an hour. That's my thing. I don't really care. Like I said, I love pretty much all the tracks. I love the cars, like going fast. I mean, there's nothing not to like in my opinion. So I just really enjoy everything about it. So I'd say that we get to go fast and don't have to worry about getting in trouble. That'd be my favorite thing.
Exactly. And lastly, are there any sponsors and team members you'd like to thank at all?
We'll just check out www.B.J.McLeodmotorsports.com. Everything's up there. So we have a lot of people that help us out. But appreciate all of them, and thanks for talking to you today.
It's been a pleasure having you. Thank you so much for coming on, BJ. And this is Alex Gray from the Grueling Truth Radio Network, signing off.